Now for Guatemala. I actually seem to like this season a lot more than the crowd does. I wasn't expecting to like it when we watched it towards the end of when I had my first channel, but to my surprise, I really enjoyed it. The location was tough, the challenges were brutal, the gameplay changed as the season went along. People, were in good positions, but then found themselves getting booted because of either the swap put them in a bad position, they get betrayed by their allies. It was nice to see this dynamic change up, and sure there were bad people who were negative out there, but once the season ended, I think most of them, except perhaps Judd and Cindy, were mostly over it. Yeah, Rafe was a dick at the end, but given how lopsided that jury decision ended up being, I'd say we can move on from that. And just, it was fun. That's not to say, though, that there weren't a couple of problems, because there were a few moments of people being a dick. Stephanie and Bobby John were definitely not as positive this time around, but it happens. I haven't been mentioning this, but I am really not a fan of seasons where they do tribe switches with odd number of people, especially when it's a two-tribe situation, because I just feel like that always would leave some people at a disadvantage, because in Marquesas, that's what seemed to occur. Vanuatu, that's what happened, and you had some of that happen here, even though, in hindsight, after the switch, I don't think there was any real votes that were strictly along tribal lines, except maybe one, but I'm having trouble remembering which one it was. I didn't say that in the notes. And the winner for this season is not too memorable. Danny's gameplay works fine for old school, okay? Don't get me wrong, but she's just not talked about that much. I think part of that does have to do with the fact that she said, I'm only ever going to come back if there's an all-winners season, which she is. Thank you, but it definitely is a strike against the season, I have to admit. But it's a nice season. I was really surprised by how much I enjoyed it on the rewatch. Shut up, battery. So it's got that going for it. Good way to close out old school. No, I don't count the hidden immunity idol here as an idol. Alright, it was just another immunity challenge, basically, given how you had to play it before the vote even happened. Now, Panama/Exile Island. Not a fan of this one, because when I rewatched it, I was shocked to see just how little gameplay there was this season. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, people were playing the game then. Well, okay, yeah, they were, but almost every single vote, except I think the final 6 and the final 3, boiled down to person versus person. Oh, I don't like you, whoever the 5th person voted out was, get out of here. Oh, Ruth Marie's Reek, forget about it. Oh yeah, you're a strong member of the other tribe. Roof. Just, and like Shane, that wasn't strategic. He was the outsider on that tribe, although that was one hell of an exit. I really do think Jeff had to prevent himself from laughing there. Yeah. So that bit about Shane illustrates the only real strength that this season has. The characters, because like with Marquesas, you can't skip this season because you've got Sari, you've got Aris, who came back for Blood vs. Water, then you've got Danielle, even though she was a backup, if I recall correctly. I'm pretty sure Corinne was supposed to be there. And then there's Terry's fight to stay alive, and Shane being hilarious, but That's really the only reason to watch this. Yeah, there is the introduction of Exile Island and the hidden idol, but I when I was rewatching this era of Survivor, which I'll call the Exile Island era, I just never really liked Exile Island that much, to be honest. I really do prefer it when they just had the idols at camp and you don't even have that twist. Especially since coincidentally the first season that you had no variation of Exile Island whatsoever, people just started finding the idols left and right on their own with barely any help. Right. And also having this version of the idol, Super Idol, Tyler Perry Idol, it's too much power. It really is, because you have to vote out someone twice. And no, Terry not winning is not a reason why I dislike this season, because given my current mindset and how most people have to view the game, it's actually a good thing that he didn't do it, because there wasn't that much strategy to him. He really did act like a dick in many situations, even though he kinda had reason to, given how Kasaya didn't let him in. And then you've got the situation where you had a tribe mix-up with an odd number of players, and then the interesting thing is that had Lamina won any other immunity challenge besides the first, meaning that Kasaya still wins 3 immunity challenges, but one of them is the first, and Lamina wins 2 that aren't the first, it actually would have been 5-5. So in many ways, winning that first immunity challenge actually hurt Lamina. Just wanted to point that out to you. Don't like it, but you have to watch it. Cook Islands. I'm in a tough spot with this season because this cast, I really do feel like it was mostly an excellent cast. Tons of people playing the game. We had good pre-merge dynamics, boots that were unexpected. Yeah, we had the Super Idol, but it wasn't really on people's minds because the Super Idol ultimately never was used, albeit because it's a Super Idol. And even people that weren't as good players, they still contributed something as a caricature in many ways. It's a nice season, but what I don't like about it is the thing that ironically everyone does like about it, and that it's what happened after the mutiny. Yeah. Because in my mind, once we had that mutiny and I too started a huge fight to stay alive, this season lost a lot of its possible strategic possibilities, because Becky, she was actually mattering in the strategic discussions, but then she just ended up getting pushed aside as the I-2-4 started struggling to stay alive. Ozzy, if I-2 had gone to one more tribal, though even if they had just stayed at those 6 tribes, I don't think that they would have. I think Raro still would have lost those challenges, and I think the same free people would have still gone. It all depends if Nate would have voted out Jenny, or if those two would have gained up and tried to vote Adam out. They wouldn't have targeted Parv, but just Becky lost her credibility. And then you had that Aussie situation, and then tons of the Raro people ended up eventually getting pushed into an I-2 fight to stay alive, and then Jonathan. Okay, so a lot of people say that Jonathan did 3 things this season. There's first of all being a bit of a dick on the I-2 tribe when he's voting out people there. Then there's him doing the mutiny, going over to Raro, and then there's him betraying the Raro people because you goes, Super Idol, come back or we're going to vote you out. Here's the thing. I can actually forgive Jonathan for the mutiny, okay? And then him being a dick on the I-2 tribe? He wasn't the only dick this season, okay? he had negative moments, but Flicka had negative moments, Adam had negative moments, Nate had negative moments, JP, arguably, huh? So I can forgive those first two, it's that last one that I have problems with. And had that been a normal idol, that would have helped things, more if you ask me, just... What I'm getting at is that I really, really wish that they had not done that mutiny or just done another regular swap or just left the tribes as they were 6-6, because had they left them at that 6-6, I honestly will bet you that this season would have played out almost the exact same way that it did. But that's me. That's not to say that I don't appreciate Yule's gameplay, but he had a loaded hand. Sorry, man. So I really do want to like this season better than I do, but there you are. I can't look past that and how we had that interruption of gameplay. But it's good alumni. It has that going for it, thankfully. Now, Fiji. I was actually surprised when I rewatched it that while I agree that the season was negative, the main twist for the season did not work, and that the cast was not hugely likable, I actually didn't mind it as much because I still felt there was a good amount of strategic thinking in many people's minds, though there was a good amount of person versus person that happened during it, and we've seen this level of negativity on seasons before, other Survivor seasons than Big Brother, and compared to Big Brother, this is nothing. It's just a twist. Sucked, though even if they had done it in its original form, where the luxurious camp would have been up for grabs every week as a reward challenge, the twist would still be not viewed favorably, and then had Moto won the first 2 rounds of that, they would have held on to it the whole time, if you ask me. And yes, voting out Yao at the end was a huge uproar, but Earl admitted at the reunion, he and Yao Man, they had agreed to a deal where we get each other to like top 4, top 3, because they didn't know it was going to be final 3 at the end. But once we get to that point somewhere around there, it's everyone for themselves. It's the same thing with Tom and Ian in Palau, because Tom admitted on a radio show interview that there's no way I'm going to be able to find again, and we get each other to the final 3, and we make sure that the person there in addition to us has no shot at all at beating us. Once that happens, and it's down to just the 2 of us, everyone for themselves. But given how it was the final 3, it was guaranteed that one of them would win the game, and Yao would have beat Earl, so I don't blame him. Although, of course, most of this cast being recruited definitely hurts it, because Gary, the guy who got medevaced, it's hard to tell if this is a medevac or a quit. He was the only one that actually applied to the show normally. Everyone else, they were recruited, including the person who quit. So that's definitely annoying to deal with. So, I don't think it's as bad as some people say, but is it weak compared to a lot of the others? Oh yeah. I wholeheartedly agree with that, especially since in this season, Fiji, which is now what the show always films, was portrayed in such a negative light. Not good. And talking about China now, I was really surprised at how much I enjoyed this, because even though I knew the winner and how a good amount of the cast would place, it was still really interesting to see all these people interact, because there were more people in playing than I was accustomed to. And given how the idol dynamic had changed over the course of the past couple of seasons, that really added a new element to it there. And even though we had one tribe being in dominance the whole time, it didn't always feel like that, because I couldn't help but notice this season was kind of biased in its edit because they were clearly telling you, hey, you're supposed to like the red tribe and you're not supposed to like the yellow tribe. But in each tribe, you had hierarchies of weak players, stronger players that are going to stick around for a while, but you're eventually going to dislike, and strong players that are going to stick around for a while that you should like. And then you had Todd, because I could not help but think that this edit was somewhat biased in giving him a winner's edit. I think he's the first person to truly get a winner's edit, if you ask me. But that's not to say that everyone on the Yellow Tribe was bad. PG, Eric, Jamie, they mattered in here, and Frosty had a humorous moment or two. And I'm sure there were people on the Red Tribe that were bad, and Todd and Courtney and Amanda, they had their negative moments, but once the season ends, they're all over it, because even John Robert, there was one point where he literally threatened Todd, though I forget the exact words, and if memory serves, he actually voted for Todd to win. Doesn't that say something? So yeah, excellent season. It goes down a little bit because I knew the winner, and also I'm going to tell you right now, I think that the location in Amazon was better because they had to work harder out there this season. They didn't have to work as hard with dealing with the elements. Sure, there were tons of times where it rained, but hey, it's Survivor. It's supposed to rain, you know? Alright, see you for the next video, which should be the last one.